Hello everyone, it's Raz from the Semi-Retired Samurai. I hope you guys are all doing well. You know, in your 50s are a decade where we're grieving our parents getting older. Many of us are still parenting kids, and you're trying to figure out, you know, who you are in the second part of your life. And all this all comes together all at the same time. So it can be quite overwhelming, at least it was for me. And I want to talk about that today, why that's not a bad thing. And it actually presents a lot of opportunities for us who are over 50 now. Now here's the thing is, nobody prepares you for a decade when all this happens all at once. For many of us, we're in that in-between stage in our lives now. We're not old enough to be done, but at the same time, we're not young enough to pretend that we have an unlimited amount of time. And everything seems to be piling up around us at once after 50. Aging parents, maybe kids needing you, adult kids needing you, and also coming to grips with our own body, how it's changing. I know my wife complains about menopause, and for me, you know, I find my energy a lot of times is not what it used to be. It goes up and down all the time. And also, there's a part of, you know, seeing friends start to pass on, you know, a lot of them before their time. And it can get a little bit depressing, you know, because it forces us to face our own mortality as well. And we start to wonder, you know, when's our time gonna be up? And it's no longer, you know, like how we were when we were kids and we had what felt like an unlimited amount of time. And I don't know about you, but I think there's a certain amount of loneliness after turning 50. And I know many of the guys will say that they're okay with it. But I think a lot of us, deep down inside, we want human connection. No matter, you know, how much we say we enjoy being alone. Because for me, I mean, I always considered myself able to do things on my own by myself, and I'm okay with it. But I have to admit that sometimes it does get a little bit quiet, and it could, you know, can get a little bit lonely at times because everyone kind of assumes that you're fine. They don't call you. And I find myself sometimes at home just, if it wasn't for work and creating content and my business, it'd be pretty quiet. And the quiet can become a little bit deafening. And it's also not healthy because I was reading a book on Ikigai, and it talks about this, how people in these communities in Okinawa, they forge social connections. And these social connections actually help people live a longer, healthier life. So there's some science behind it. And the thing about being 50 is, you know, nobody seems to check on you anymore. You know, they, you know, check on your parents, you know, or they check on if you're newly retired, but they don't call you because they assume that life is all good and fine. But I think when we talk about this, and we talk about the feeling of being isolated, feeling a little bit lonely, it can come as a relief. You know, because most people, I know for myself, carry this feeling silently. And we don't talk about it, especially us guys, especially Gen X men. We don't talk about our feelings. We just always taught to suck it up and be tough and move on. And the other thing about, being 50 and feeling a bit lonely is it doesn't always have to be this way. And I choose to look at it from another perspective. I look at the 50s, at least I started to, as an opportunity to reclaim ourselves and to reinvent ourselves. For me, I want to bring back that childhood curiosity. I started thinking about this, about how we looked at the world and saw everyday life when we were growing up, before becoming an adult and having to go to work and having to fulfill our responsibilities. And I think when that happens, it takes away it kills your feeling to, I guess, explore and to be curious about the world around you. And we start just kind of following a routine and isolating ourselves from things that made us happy as a child. And so I started to ask myself, what's next in the next chapter of our lives, the next chapter of my life. I started to ask, what am I curious about? What are the things that I didn't get a chance to do in the first part of my life that I would like to accomplish now? So I started to think about travel, because I always wanted to do that. And even if I have no one to go with, I'm more than happy to go solo and just to rekindle that spirit. I started to look at things like, starting an online business, which is what I'm doing now, because once I'm no longer running my martial arts school, I feel like I need some kind of purpose and something to get me up in the morning. And I'm really enjoying this journey on YouTube. So I chose to build things in the second chapter of my life, and I'm starting to look at all these different, things in my life that are, lacking, that I'm not really focusing on. And because everything, like I said, in our 50s, we're dealing with so much, being a sandwich generation with aging parents and all these things, and it could become overwhelming, and you start to lose yourself, you start to forget about yourself, and you forgot to take care of yourself and find out what's really gives me meaning in my life and happiness. And so I think a lot of us, when we get to 50, it can get depressing, because we look at, our parents get older, we're getting older, and we just see it as a gradual decline in the quality of our life. And I refuse to go that route. I refuse to let that define my life and so forth. So I think it takes a little bit of organization and to be able to be self-aware on changing these old habits and getting rid of these old habits that you had. And that's the way I plan to build my second part of my life. It's an ongoing journey. There's lots of things that I have to work on. For example, the travel I mentioned, I wasn't traveling for a long time, and I let a lot of things hold me back, which were, not really the best excuses. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. And so I'm looking forward to this trip out to Japan in about 5 weeks. And that's going to be a real blast. I've never visited that country, so it's going to be a real treat. So I hope that video resonates with you. And you know, for some of you who are struggling to find out what to focus on, you know, in the second part of your life, and find out like what's going to give you meaning, what to tackle first, I put together a little tool that you can use. It's free. It's called and it's in the link below. So give it a try and let me know how what you find out about yourself. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe, like, or share, and feel free to check out my next video. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time.